Right, deep breath. I'm taking a deep breath because that was a fantastic start to the show for me, but I won't go into it. Right, good evening everybody. Loving that tune which I didn't hear, and we are most definitely having an ABBA music themed evening tonight on the Cry Freedom show. I've got some great mixes coming up, so apologies in advance to all the non-ABBA fans listening out there tonight. Also coming up, we've got Michael Tellinger talking about the Ubuntu Liberation Movement. Part 3 from Robert Young's new book, Your Own Personal Supercomputer, based on the long-lost powers of humanity. Another wonderful guest spot with the Green Man, Dan Ognescu himself. The latest audio from Kevin Annett and the ITCCS, and an update on the Badger Call situation. So a packed show coming up right now. I'm just going to take a few breaths and carry on in just a moment. Hello, this is Lisa on the Cry Freedom Show.
Hi, this is George from the Prisoner Broadcast.
You're listening to Scout Night at criticalmassradio.co.uk. Hey you, what's happened to all the Scouts? There was loads left in that pan before.
I've left you some in the pan.
No, you haven't. There's nothing gone.
Yes, there's a full pan there.
Well, you bloody eat it all as per flipping usual.
The dog must have had it.
Yeah, right.
There's some lemon curd there. Just have a lemon curd butty.
Lemon curd, that's all that's left for me. You are always doing this.
You like lemon curd?
No, I don't like lemon
Have a lemon curd butty.
No, I don't want a lemon curd butty. I want
Calm down. Just calm
down. That's all you will bloody say, calm down.
You just need to calm down. Just take a chill pill down. Just take a chill. Calm down.
CMR Critical Mass Radio in association with We Are Change Manchester and Freedom Northwest. Please note the views and opinions expressed by the hosts on this show are not necessarily the views held by the station. CMR is for people who want answers, because now it's our turn.
Chemtrails, child, animal and planet abuse, geoengineering, alternative energy, disclosure, prison planets, Agenda 21, drones, biometrics. This is CMR, Critical Mass Radio, leading the way to stopping the control with proactive hosts, shows and solutions, and informative groundbreaking guests. Critical Mass Radio, the People's Station. Now, it's our turn.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to CMR Critical Mass Radio on a Thursday night. Thursday night is Scouts Night, where the Merseysiders take over the studio, and the Reverend George will be taking over the shell suit at 9 p.m. tonight with the Prisoner Broadcast. I'd like to say hello to everyone listening on Blog Talk Radio this evening. Welcome. And to those listening through the CMR website at criticalmassradio.co.uk. Also to anyone listening at a later date on podcast available on the webpage. Hello to you also. So kicking off, that was a wonderful speech from Charlie Chaplin from the film The Great Dictator, which was released in 1940, and Chaplin actually wrote, produced, directed, and in addition to actually starring in it as well as the lead in the film. It was a stirring, controversial condemnation of Hitler and Mussolini's fascism and the anti-Semitism. And just to give you a bit of background, during the era of McCarthyism, Chaplin was accused of un-American activities as a suspected communist, and J. Edgar Hoover, who had instructed the FBI to keep extensive secret files on him, tried to end his United States residency, and apparently the FBI pressure on Chaplin grew after his 1942 campaign for a second European front in the war. And it did also reach apparently a critical level in the late 1940s when congressional figures threatened to call him as a witness in hearings. This was never done, probably from fear of Chaplin's ability to lampoon the investigators. So in February 2012, an MI5 file on Chaplin was opened to the public, which actually revealed that the FBI had contacted the British Secret Service to provide them with information which would enable them to ban Chaplin from the US. And in particular, it wanted MI5 to find out where Chaplin was born and pursue suggestions that his real name was in fact Israel Thornstein. So the MI5 actually searched, but to no avail, and there was a suggestion that he may have been born in France, which also came to nothing. And then in 1952, Chaplin left the US for what was intended as a brief trip home to the United Kingdom, which was going to be for the London premiere of Limelight. And Hoover learned of the trip and negotiated with the Immigration and Naturalization Service to revoke Chaplin's re-entry permit. And then Chaplin actually decided not to re-enter the United States, and he actually said, "Since the end of the last World War, I have been the object of lies and propaganda by powerful reactionary groups who, by their influence and by the aid of America's yellow press, have created an unhealthy atmosphere in which liberal-minded individuals can be singled out and persecuted. Under these conditions, I find it virtually impossible to continue my motion picture work, and I have therefore given up my residence in the United States." So that was just to give you a little bit of background on that speech, and I love that speech, and that speech always brings tears to me, and I remember the first time I ever heard that, and, well, yeah. Right, okay, moving on. So, one of the highlights of this week so far for me has been listening to the information from a gentleman called Stuart Hall, who was a guest on the Critical Mass show here on Monday evening, and this is another one I urge people to listen to on the CMR podcasts. Stuart has set up what is called the Sovereign State of Forwick out in Scotland in the Shetlands, and actually the whole thing that Stuart is trying to say is that in fact that the Shetlands are not legally part of Scotland. And to actually quote from the Forwick website itself, which if you want to have a look is at www.forwick.com, and that is spelled F-O-R-V-I-K, Forwick, and I do urge you to take a look at that. Forwick stands, and this is from the website, Forwick stands for the right to truthful, transparent and accountable governance. It stands for money that has real value. It stands for ethical banking. It stands for making our elected representatives our servants, not our masters. It stands for getting rid of liars, thieves and tyrants in government. In pursuit of these aims, Forwick undertakes all kinds of activities open to a Crown dependency or offshore island state. Forwick is part of Shetland and demonstrates what Shetland as a whole could be. The purpose is to challenge the UK government to explain where their perceived authority in Shetland comes from. Now, for me, there is something about all this that rings so very true, and a few of us here are saying at the moment that all roads really do seem to be leading to Scotland at the moment. Personally, I have always felt a very strong tie and attraction to Scotland, obviously because of the raw beauty, but it does actually go deeper than that. And even today, Scotland has come up twice in different circumstances for myself, but I do have Scottish name ties, but apart from all this, it's something that I can't really explain, but because of listening to what Stuart was saying and because of what I felt before, it kind of made more of a mark on me. And I know he himself does actually deny all ties to Scotland, but anyway. So for a start, I don't think anyone can disagree with the quote from the Forwick website I just read out. I mean, these aims are aims that all of us who want to stand in integrity should be striving for, and it's kind of like a done deal that we should all be thinking this way anyway, especially in these times. And quite frankly, the greed and the corruption is obvious to everyone, and at least it should be, unless you're so completely immersed in your false reality that never puts its head above the TV or the bloody PlayStation. But anyway, I just wanted to urge people to have a look at what Stuart is trying to do, and if you agree with the ethics and the aims, then please do join the movement, as I have, and contribute towards these aims, because from my own point of view, this is something that we all need to be doing right now if we want to do something to try and make a difference. So I'm now going to put on the next track, and as I did say earlier, we are having an ABBA-themed night tonight, so again, apologies to anyone who doesn't like ABBA, but deep down you all know that you really do. So next up, we've got Angel Eyes.
CMR Critical Mass Radio Time to Act conference is taking place from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturday, the 24th of November 2012 at the Britannia Country House Hotel, Didsbury, Manchester. With 8 key speakers covering the sovereign state of Forvik and council tax manipulation, government cover-ups and the paranormal, what's gone wrong with British policing, what's really happening inside our courts, the trust relationship, deaths and the economic enslavement, military basic training and techniques of mind control, how the constitutions, laws and regulations of the EU will enable it to hold us in slavery, and how we have been programmed with language for so very long. This is an event you definitely do not want to miss. Speakers on the day are Danny Bamping, Albert Burgess, Tony Farrell and David Noakes, with CMR's very own Ben Emlyn-Jones, Rob Freeman, Mark Howell and Paul Rippon. The world has reached a moment in time when it has become apparent to those who know how things really work that we all need to unite and move forward proactively as a matter of urgency to try our best to protect our future and that of the planet. Please join us at the very first CMR conference to help make that move in the right direction. And remember, knowledge is power. Tickets for this event are £20 and available via the CMR website at www.criticalmassradio.co.uk. Please pay for tickets required using the donate button on the site. The CMR Critical Mass Radio Time to Act conference, because now it's our turn.
So, yes, folks, we have the first ever CMR Critical Mass Radio conference, the Time to Act conference, coming up very soon on Saturday, the 24th of November at the Britannia Country Hotel in Didsbury, Manchester. And I've got to say again, this is an incredible lineup of speakers at this event, and there is going to be some amazing and so important information shared on the day. And if you are awake and you want to join with those of us who are trying to unite as much as possible, to join forces and strengths to move forward with solutions that can actually make a difference, then trust me, you really do want to be with us on the 24th of November. It's only £20, folks, for the whole day and a whole day of essential material that will help us move in the right direction. And the money that you pay goes towards paying for the event itself and to helping us here at CMR continue to do what we are trying to do to make this world a better place. And take it from me, all of what is done at CMR is done because we care, because we hate what is happening to our fellow men and the environment on this planet, and because those of us involved really do believe that we can make a difference if we do it together. So, getting carried away again. So, moving on. Right, one of the topics I wanted to cover this evening is the work of a guy called Michael Tellinger, who some of you will be aware of. Michael is the founder of the Ubuntu Liberation Movement, which is out in South Africa, and it is very much promoting unity and a higher consciousness for the new world. And as Michael will explain in an audio that I'm going to play now, Ubuntu is an African word which means a community-driven existence, and is all about everyone working together for the better of the general good of everyone. And to quote Michael himself, "Let each citizen contribute their natural talents or acquired skills to the greater benefit of all in the community. Let us utilize the wealth of our land to provide abundance in areas of life for the people." And in this audio that I'm going to play, he talks about many things, including stone circles, the Anunnaki, cloning, genetically modified food, and how money is such an obstacle to our progress, and all about as well what the Ubuntu Liberation Movement stands for. And I really do urge you to check out the Ubuntu website, which is at www.ubuntuparty, and Ubuntu is spelt UBUNTU, so ubuntuparty.org.za. It really rings true to me, and have a look yourselves and see what you think. So next up we've got Michael Tellinger talking all about Ubuntu.
So here we are at Rainier, Washington, at the Awakening Center, and we have Michael Tellinger How are we doing today, Michael?
Excellent. Lovely to see you, Tom.
Yeah, it's awesome to see you again. So how's your trip going?
It's going excellently. It's always nice to come to the USA. It's my third annual trip, and met some amazing people, and revisiting them and reconnecting. And we reconnected with Michal Ledwith last night. And
oh, nice.
The night before with James Gilliland and the guys at ASETI. So it's been fantastic, and all the way from New York State and New York City all the way up to Vermont, and the Dowsers Association there, and our great friends like Sandy Mack, and just people all along the way. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so driving the whole thing again?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't this a beautiful country?
It's just the diversity is spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sort of used to it from South Africa. This is just bigger.
Right. So some new developments there that you guys have come up with there in South Africa, that footprint.
Yeah.
That thing's absolutely blew me away when I saw it.
Yeah. The footprint is causing so much controversy, especially among the trained geologists and the homemade geologists,
right,
who all know about granite and how it's formed, and automatically jump up and down that it can't be a footprint because if it's granite then it's impossible and all that kind of stuff. And I say, I understand the problems with the footprint in granite. That is why I'm showing it to you.
Yeah.
That's exactly the reason why, because you can jump up and down and pretend it's not there, but here it is. It's not going away.
Well, so that footprint, really for the geologists, it really screams, if that footprint is real, it screams they are wrong about the way granite is formed.
Yeah, that is quite possible, and that's what I keep reminding them about, is, you can't wish it away, it's there. So what do we do about that? We've got to start rethinking, exactly as you mentioned, about our understanding of geological activity. And maybe it's not as clear-cut as we are taught at school. And then there are some other possibilities, and I must share this with you because I think it's important for your viewers to wrap their heads around this. I got an interesting email from a mine prospector in Canada, north of Montreal, in the eastern side of Canada, and he says he's been prospecting gold there and mining gold for decades. It's part of his family tradition. I forget his name now, but with apologies. But he explained to me very clearly. He knows exactly what's going on there, and all these guys that are jumping up and down, getting excited that it's not possible. He says he's seen this happen over and over again, where they seem to have gold in granite, gold deposits in Canada, and they've been mining it for a long time there. And he says when they crush the granite and create a slurry, and they extract the gold, and they leave the slurry of granite behind. After a while, it hardens again, like concrete, and becomes hard. And at one stage goes through like a muddy kind of state, and if you step in it, will leave behind a footprint. And if I remember correctly, his email said that that kind of thing would happen very easily and can be explained very easily. So that's a possibility as well.
Right.
So whoever was doing this, whoever left that footprint behind, and this clearly a large person, was probably or possibly mining gold.
Yeah, I was just going to say this ties all back into the gold mines down there.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing. It's certainly getting attention and attraction, and I believe that people should come around and see it.
Yeah. So I know when you first found that, or shortly after, Klaus Donna came down and visited you. Is there anything that's come out of that visit you'd like to share?
Yeah, Klaus and I are continuing our research then in South Africa, around close to where I live, where many of the stone circles are concentrated, and some of the best examples of this vanished civilization is. And we're looking at finding evidence of the Anunnaki, and we've got some interesting information on where there may be some tunnels left behind, and possibly filled with bones, humanoid or human-like bones, and who knows what other artifacts might be in there. So that's what we're working on, and looking for evidence of the Anunnaki, which I believe we're very close to finding.
That would be awesome. So do you use much local lore in looking around the area?
No, strangely enough, not really. The only the only really knowledgeable person that I connected with on that field of that area of human history is Credo Mutwa. And Credo obviously agrees pretty much with everything that I'm sharing with you and the people of the world, and gave me a lot of phenomenal and important information, which at different times has pointed me in very specific directions. And I've been very fortunate to find substantiation and physical evidence for what Credo has said on various occasions now.
Right.
And that's exciting. And that's talking about, the fact that Enki is involved there, or as the in African tradition known as Enkai. And secondly, the fact that it's the birthplace of the human race.
So the linguistics there in South Africa use the word Enkai.
Yeah.
Also, so that's awful close.
Yeah. And Enki is known as Enkai, as the creator god and the creator of the human race among African shaman and knowledge keepers. And,
there's too many coincidences there.
And it's again the coincidence of Adam's calendar, as I called it. I mean, I'm amazed that I called it Adam's calendar. It was just the name that I came up with because I wanted to find something that would describe origins of humankind,
right,
and a very ancient site. And little did I know that it would be the site that they claim, and
right,
we seem to have interesting information pointing to that this is where humanity was cloned, right there. So you can't get much further away from that than that.
Right. There's so many people that raise their eyebrows that when people talk about we were getting cloned or was cloning going on that far back in history. And we've lost. There's so many civilizations that have risen and fallen here on this planet.
Exactly.
And we've lost so much. And now we're coming back into an era where we ourselves are beginning the cloning processes. And what makes it so far out of question that it's the possibility of us being able to do that in the past? So.
We can clone anything. We can clone animals. We can clone plants. We eat cloned food.
Yeah.
It's called genetically modified food. Well, what is that? It's cloned food.
Right.
That's what it is. Our food shops and stores are filled with cloned food.
Yeah.
And the farmers are going out of business because of cloned seeds by Monsanto and other companies like them. So the cloning thing is, if people still can't get their heads around that, then they're clearly way behind on their own personal information and research. And I would suggest they go and do some research because they need to catch up very quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
So you follow the Monsanto stuff very closely?
Well, I certainly do, because I'm deeply worried about what Monsanto is doing. And part of the Ubuntu movement, when we launch it in South Africa in September 2012, is going to be get rid of Monsanto. We got to support the farmers in every possible way and move back to providing them with the technology, the know-how, the scientific research that is non-Monsanto, that is organically based, so they can grow phenomenal amounts of food using the natural sources of Gaia and the energetic fields that we have available to us,
right,
without having to do what Monsanto is doing, which we all know they're doing really just as a
right,
tool of control, the control of food supply and then control of humanity.
There was an article out recently that Monsanto's corn, their genetically modified corn, has been directly linked to birth defects now.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was applicable across a wide spectrum of human problems. But the exciting and encouraging thing is that I've just read an article somewhere, it was either before we left South Africa or when we arrived here in the USA, that somewhere France had just banned some of Monsanto's, I'm not sure what it was, an aspect of Monsanto has been banned in France,
right,
which is really exciting, because that's a really key moment in history right now.
Yeah, there's more and more people that are climbing on that bandwagon and saying no to that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
But the other important thing is, while we're talking about this, I've been telling people about somebody that's very special to me in South Africa by the name of Paul Grevenstein, who's been working with farmers and healing their crops for 15 years now, with his energies and frequencies, if you can call it that. He claims it's gone beyond frequency. It's not just frequency; it's a source of energy that he's managed to generate. that is not necessarily always frequency linked, which is strange. And he called me up the other day and said, what's the chance of us getting some funding anyway, because he needs some help, because Monsanto started blocking his energies in the fields where he's curing farmers' crops from disease, whether it's fungus or viruses or bacteria, or even things like locusts or flies, whatever. And so that tells us that Monsanto knows what he's doing. They understand the processes that he uses, and they're using it for the detriment of humanity. Right. And that's a major eye-opener as to how sophisticated these groups like Monsanto are.
Right. They're not dummies.
No,
they understand. They understand what we're trying to bring out to the public, to the raising the consciousness. They understand all these principles.
So they should be doing what Paul Grevenstein is doing.
Right.
But they're doing everything to the contrary.
Right. So before I let you go here and let you go get ready for your chat today, for the benefit of our viewers here, would you explain what the Ubuntu program is?
Ubuntu is an African word for community-driven existence and living, where people work for the greater benefit of all in their community. It's an ancient tradition, African tradition, and it's something that I embraced in 2005 when I finished writing Slave Species of God, and realized that we've got to move beyond the concept of money and have to start embracing a new world and a new age where money is not used at all. And then that goes hand in hand with no trade, no barter, no value being attached to anything greater or lesser than anything else, because we kept being told that we're all born equal.
Right.
And for a split second we're all equal. And then we become grossly unequal. So gross that it offends most of us.
Right.
And so what Ubuntu is really bringing everything back into absolute equality, where you cannot discriminate or abuse anybody else because of money, because of what you have, more or less than they have, where everybody contributes to the greater benefit of all in their own community that they choose to live in. Communities that work on the basis that if it's not good for everyone, it's no good at all, which all ancient cultures seem to embrace very effectively, until the Europeans arrived some 500 years ago and started decimating native populations around the world and separating us from the knowledge of our ancestors and the honoring of our ancestors and the contact with our ancestors. So here we are, this currently right now, the species which seems to be a species with amnesia. I think Graham Hancock coined that phrase.
Right.
And they've done that so successfully, because if we don't know who we are and where we come from and what our ancestors were up to, what the hell do we think we're doing here?
Right.
We have no understanding of our place in the world today, how we've arrived here. And by severing us from our ancestors, they've beautifully set us up to accept the division and the rule and conquer by and rule by division, divide and conquer principles, which apply more spectacularly today than ever before. Well, the contributionism, Ubuntu contributionism principles that I'm sharing with everybody brings it all back to sharing everything with the world, and communities providing what I call abundance on all levels. Because once you have everything available to you at all the time, then what problems do you have?
Exactly.
You can travel anywhere you want. All you have to do is contribute to the greater benefit of the communities that you go and visit. And the answers to this are so extremely simple that it takes, some people get it immediately, some people take a little while to just readjust the capitalistic, consumeristic way of thinking. And once that penny drops, it's just beautiful. It's a world of abundance on all levels, and I mean that, whether it's food, water, education, science, technology, free energy, everything just explodes, because money is not the hurdle to progress.
Right.
It's no longer the obstacle to progress. Everything is possible. After all, people do things. Money does nothing.
Exactly. No, that's definitely been part of my vision for our future too. Is I was really just bowled over the first time I saw your contributionism videos, and I was like, oh, this guy has got it. He sees it. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you got it, you understood it before you even saw what I was talking about. There are millions of people that get it without even listening to anyone else talk about it. But
see, this talking about it raises its vibration in the conscious field, and that 100th monkey effect starts working.
Yes. And it's also important to talk about it so people lose their fear of talking about it themselves.
Exactly.
Because sometimes they feel a bit embarrassed. I don't know, it might sound stupid, or if I bring this up, people are going to laugh at me. But also, if you haven't thought it through, and this is the potential problem, if you have not thought it through, which I found 7 years ago when I started talking about this at dinner parties and sharing this, boy, I got attacked every, and I hadn't had any experience about, how is this going to work? How is that going to work? How's education and farming and providing of services and all this, how is that going to work? And if you don't have an immediate answer for people, they shoot you down and they think you're an idiot.
Right.
Well, right now, there is nothing you can throw at me that I haven't thought through. But it's taken me 7 years to get to this point.
Right.
Of really deeply analyzing aspects of society. How do we live today, and how will that dramatically change? Completely turn upside down on its head in a moneyless society. Everything changes, but so beautifully and so simply, because what it does, it follows the laws of nature. It's a natural order of things. That's what happens. And money has just screwed everything up. It's divided everything. It's created hierarchy. It's created separation. It's created lows and scarcity and abundance on various levels, and that's the big problem.
Yeah, agreed. So you're setting something up through. You're starting something in September. You said.
We're launching the Ubuntu Party. I registered a political party. It took a lot of work, 2 years of hard work of getting signatures and writing manifestos and so forth. And I just got an email last week while in the USA from the IEC, the Independent Electoral Commission in South Africa, that our certificate of registration is on its way and by registered post. So we'll have it when we get back, and we're launching the Ubuntu Party as an official political party in South Africa in September 2012. Just in time for the shift and the rise of consciousness. And again, for people that look at this and go, what the hell are you messing around in politics? Stop. It's not about getting involved in politics. It's about protection. Protecting ourselves on a platform of so-called political credibility.
Right.
Okay? Because if we don't do it like this, we'll be shut down, arrested, all our efforts will be closed, they'll be ridiculed.
This is one of those intermediary spit it out, Tom. Intermediary steps into this new paradigm.
Yes.
I mean, we have to have something that kind of eases that blow between the government we have now and the structure that we'll have in the future.
Well, can you imagine a bunch of politicians or people that are putting out a political message, saying to the people everything they've always been thinking,
right,
and expecting to hear from the politicians, but never hear anything like that? Now suddenly they're going to hear it from the Ubuntu Party.
Right.
Kick Monsanto out, give the farmers all the scientific support they need to create, beautiful organic agricultural products. Everything to do with society, upliftment of society, and the lack of scarcity on all levels. The freeing up of technology and promoting the discovery of free energy, and the sharing of minerals. The mineral wealth of South Africa doesn't belong to the private corporations, it belongs to the people.
Right.
How dare they take out the guts of our Mother Earth where we live and claim it to be their right? All that's got to come to an end. And some people might see that as it's communism. No, it's not communism. It's none of that. It's something completely different. We've never had this kind of system.
Right.
And I need to stress that because some people do get confused.
Right.
It's got nothing to do with money. Every system we've had as a species has failed us because of what? Money was the common denominator. The moment you remove money, everything changes. And the mineral wealth of the country doesn't need to be exploited on the immense size that is being exploited. We don't need all that gold and that platinum and the silver and the nickel and the chrome and the copper. We don't need all that stuff. We only need a little bit for the technology that we need to aid us.
Right.
If we don't need it to aid us, then why get it out of the ground? We're not going to trade it on the international stock markets anymore. So that's going to create an interesting response from people. And it's not about nationalization. Some people say, oh, you sound like the government, you want to nationalize everything. No. Nationalization means the government takes control of it and ownership of it. We say, no, it's the opposite. It belongs to the people, not to any government or any corporation. Subtle but very important differences.
Right. I definitely see it. Okay. Well, Michael, I guess I'll let you go. I can't wait for your chat today. It's always enjoy hearing you speak. So.
Excellent. Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
To see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Speak to you afterwards.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay, so fascinating stuff there from Michael Tellinger, and that's just the tip of the iceberg with regards to the stuff he talks about. So please do check him out on YouTube, because he is a wealth of information, and there is just something about him that rings true to me. Okay, next I'm going to play the next chapter from the Robert Young book, the one that you've been listening to for the last 3 weeks, Your Own Personal Supercomputer. Regular listeners will know who I'm talking about, but once again, for any new listeners out there, Robert Young is a visionary who lives in Australia, and he's doing what he can to basically help others, to help humanity back onto its right path again. And his latest book is all about the hidden powers that we as humans have deep within us, but which have been deliberately concealed from us by those who stand over us in order to make us more susceptible to their control. So next up we have part 3 from Robert Young's book. Your Personal Supercomputer Handbook for the Future by Robert Young. Chapter 3. As the story continues, the scene changes to a car travelling through the night. The lights of oncoming cars distort and dance through the dazzling rain. Signs appear as sudden flashes with half-read distorted messages blocked out by reflections from a passing car. The delayed message, "One lane bridge," floats around looking for clarity, when out of nowhere the sudden blast of 4 high-powered headlights reaches deep into your reality, and the massive blast of a truck horn informs you clearly that you are about to have a head-on collision with the biggest truck you have ever seen in your life. There is no room on the bridge and nowhere to go. Your heart almost stops as you brace for the impact. Then, all of a sudden, the lights are gone. There is no rain, and all you are aware of is total silence. The truck has gone, and you are on the other side of the bridge. Are you still alive? What has happened? It takes some time to settle, and as you realize you are still driving, the first question is answered. You are alive, still driving somewhere, but with no sense of direction. As you stop the car, you feel the elation of still being alive, and your eyes close for a moment of contemplation. In a matter of moments, the noise of the traffic returns. Your eyes open, and to your amazement, you can see the lights and the rain are as they were before the truck appeared. You confirm that the bridge is behind you, and you can open the car door. You can hear the truck disappearing into the distance. Something abnormally wonderful has happened to maintain your safety. Reality has somehow been distorted and placed you on the other side of the bridge. You drive on knowing that you are totally safe. Your life has been changed, and you wonder how you will ever convince another person of the solid reality of what has just happened. It can be said that it was not your time, or that someone is looking after you, and these things can very well be true. The fact that this actually happened indicates what is possible when a person's deepest desire interfaces with the physical world and changes what is considered to be an inevitable reality. Your personal supercomputer has acted in a way that you could not imagine, and it is easy to hide this fact by using historical teachings and opinions to analyze it into oblivion.
The fact remains that your personal supercomputer has abilities that can affect the outcome of events in the physical world and can change what would be accepted as normal in our present experience. There are simple observations that occur regularly in our lives which offset all these arguments and allow us to attribute these events and all the special feelings to our personal supercomputer. The most effective example is the process of walking on hot coals and not experiencing the first-degree burns that are usually inflicted when the powers of your personal supercomputer are denied. The simple knowledge that you will not be burned is all that is needed to allow your personal supercomputer to come into action. This is one of the most complex and controversial applications of our personal supercomputer, which for many brings forth emotions and reactions from totally amazing to frightening and creepy. No matter what our reaction may be, the ultimate outcome is the intervention in events in a totally miraculous manner to change our interface with the world and maintain our security in times of impending disaster. This is CMR Critical Mass Radio. You're listening to Dan Ognuscu, the Green Man, on the Cry Freedom Show, leading the way on mankind's moral, compassionate, and ethical obligations to life on this planet.
In a place so dark you can hardly see the manner of matter that splits with the words I breathe. And as the rain drips, acidic questions around me, I block out the sight of the powers that be and duck away into the darkness. Time's up, I wind up in a rusted world with eyes shut so tight that it blurs into the world of pretend, and the eyes ease open and it's dark again. By the polluted rock that's all around, watching the wheels of cars that pass, I look past to the last of the light and the long shadows it casts. A window grows, captures the eye and cries out a yellow light as it passes me by, and a young shadowy figure sits in front of a box inside a building a rock with antennas on top. Now nothing can stop in this land of the pain. The sane lose not knowing they were part of the game, and while the inside changed, the box stays the same, and the figure inside can bear anybody's name. The memories I keep are from a time like then. I put them on paper so I could come back to them. Someday I'm hoping to close my eyes and pretend that this crumpled up paper can be perfect again.
From the top to the
bottom to top, I stop
at the core of forgotten.
In the middle of my thoughts,
taken far from my safety.
The picture's there,
the memory won't escape me. I'm here at this podium talking. This ceremonial offerings dedicated to urban dysfunctional offspring. City governments are eternal been trapped in gritty covenants, causing urban collapse and bullets that scar souls. Leave dark holes, get rolled in your car stole. Some parts be blacker than charcoal. This society's deprivation depends not on outward differences, but the separation within. No reparation is made, limited aid and minimum wage. Living in a tenement cage where rent isn't paid. Tragedy within the parade, the darkness overspreads like a permanent plague on the facade.
Captain, a most curious development on scanner 5-7.
Let's all take a look at it, Mrs. Spock.
Screen on, Captain.
Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
Captain?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some...
Am I? Not unless I am, too. This is Captain James T. Kirk, commanding the USS Enterprise. Please identify yourself.
What's up, Doc?
People out there in our nation don't have that, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S., or should help South Africa, and should help Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future for us.
Be a ding-a-darius if I only had a brain.
Wait, he took you to a minimum security prison.
Right.
Well, that's not scary at all. Those places are, like, nice.
It was really nice, and it was fun.
I know, they're like condos. Rooms with nice furniture and...
A couple people had yards.
Really?
Yeah. Digital cable.
Was there a pool?
There was a pool.
Yeah. These places are better than where I live, Brendan.
Yeah.
White-collar prison is better than where I live. That's one of the saddest things I've ever heard.
It's like, Coach, you'd still be, like, confined, and you'd still be not allowed to do anything, you know?
Well, Brendan, what do I do anyway? I leave my house, I come here, and I go home. I don't know, Brendan. Sometimes I think that we're in the prison, and the prisoners are not.
Right. That's weird.
It's like the walls are keeping us out.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Kind of.
We all live in our own prisons, Brendan.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all trapped in these bodies.
Yeah.
You have to go to school, that's
a
prison.
It's a prison.
I have to be a soccer coach.
It's a prison. It's conversation.
It's a prison.
It's a prison. Can't get out of it.
Yes. Yes. Hippie, all around me. Hippie. Hippie. Everywhere. I say the earth, I get so hot and heavy. Yes.
No, it wasn't me. It was the one I met.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Shut up. Shut up.
Fire. Fascinating. Chekhov, take us out of orbit, warp factor 2, and hurry.
when you walk in dignity, you can cast a shadow into somebody's heart. When you follow a natural path and a riverbank that's pure, you can overcome significant cancers and you can become the cure. When you're in love and you can touch somebody's skin, you can be high. Sometimes you can fake a love. But even before it started, the clock is ticking. The clock is dead on that relationship. To have a true love is to become a scented flower. And you can be forgiven. And you can drown that slithering serpent inside you. We are timeless. And because we're timeless, the white dove inside us always flies. We are children, and the life of a given stealth. And when you realize it, the harvest that comes to you gives you wealth. Life blows my mind.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
I'd like to do a song that, or a piece of music that's just a pure expression of joy, like a celebration of existence, you know, like the coming of spring or the sun rising or something like that. Just pure, unbounded joy. You know, I don't think we've really done that yet.
Well, all your songs are an expression of joy and potency. So far.
Yeah, maybe.
What other sort of joy is it that you want to introduce?
No, the mood I get from most of it is kind of a heavy, kind of sort of gloomy feeling, you know, like like of someone not quite at home, or or not quite relaxed and aware of a lot of things, but not quite sure about anything. I'd like to do one just feeling of being totally at home.
I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
You yourself chose to be here. You are on assignment to bring memory forward and to bring the value of human existence back to the forefront of creation. You are needed. You have been in training for this assignment for lifetimes, and you did not come unprepared. All that you need to know now is inside of you, and it is your task to remember your training. This is not a lifetime when you are going to be taught new information. As we said before, this is the lifetime when you are going to remember what you already know, and we are just here to remind you of it. That is part of our assignment. Humanity is an experiment. Humanity has been designed, as has just about everything else that exists within creation. Prime Creator began experimenting with creation a long time ago in this universe for the purpose of greater self-exploration, self-gratification, and self-expression. Prime Creator brought energies and essences of life, extensions of itself, into this universe and endowed those extensions with the gifts that it had. Prime Creator said to these extensions of itself, "Go out and create and bring all things back to me." Earth was a beautiful place, located on the fringes of one of the galactic systems and easily reached from other galaxies. It was close to many way portals, the highways that exist for energies to travel throughout space. Some of the creator gods were master geneticists. The master geneticists designed various species, some human, some animal, by playing with the varieties of DNA that the sentient civilizations contributed to make Earth into this exchange center of information, this light center, this living library. The original planners of Earth were members of the family of light, beings who worked for and were associated with an aspect of consciousness called light. They designed a place where galaxies would contribute their information and where all would be able to participate and share their specific knowledge. Earth was to be a cosmic library, a place of incredible beauty that experimented with how information could be stored through frequencies and through the genetic process. The project of the living library on Earth was eventually fought over. During Earth's early history, there were wars in space for ownership of this planet. Skirmishes took place, and Earth became a place of duality. Certain creator gods who had the right to do whatever they wanted, because Earth is a free will zone, came in and took over. When the skirmish occurred, a certain group of entities fought in space and won the territory of Earth. These new owners did not want the native Earth species, the humans, to be informed of what took place. Uninformed, the species would be easier to control. That is why light is information and darkness is lack of information. These entities beat out light and Earth became their territory. These new owners who came here 300,000 years ago are the magnificent beings spoken of in your Bible, in the Babylonian and Sumerian tablets, and in texts all over the world. They came to Earth and rearranged the native human species. They rearranged your DNA in order to have you broadcast within a certain limited frequency band whose frequency could feed them and keep them in power. They worked in their laboratories and created versions of humans with a different DNA, the two-stranded double helix DNA. The original DNA pattern was left within the human cells, yet it was not functional. It was split apart, unplugged. We, as Pleiadians, came back through time into what would perhaps be called our past. We came back in order to share a frequency with you, a frequency that each one of you has agreed to carry on this planet in order to change the DNA of the rearranged human race. Earth is assisting, in its own way, the evolution of the universe. It is where the plan begins to blossom, and what happens on Earth is going to affect many, many worlds. The creator gods who have been ruling this planet have the ability to become physical, though mostly they exist in other dimensions. They keep Earth in a certain vibrational frequency while they create emotional trauma to nourish themselves. There are some beings who honor life before everything else, and there are also beings who do not honor life, do not understand their connection to it. Who are these beings who came in and rent asunder the original plans for Earth? Who are these space beings we sometimes refer to as the Dark T-shirts? These space beings are part human and part reptilian. We call them the Lizzies because we like to make things a little less emotional and a little humorous so that you don't take them so seriously and get so upset. We are not here to frighten you. We are here to inform you. They have fed off your emotions. One of the big secrets that has been kept from you as a species is the richness and wealth that accompanies emotion. You have been steered away from exploring emotion because through emotion you can figure things out. Your emotions connect you with the spiritual body. The spiritual body, of course, is non-physical, existing on the multidimensional sphere. Why are we telling you all this? Why do you need to know it? You need to know it because the Lizzie reality is re-entering and merging with your dimension. As you awaken to your history, you will begin to open your ancient eyes. These are the eyes of Horus, which see not through the eyes of a human being, but from the point of view of a god. They see the connectedness and purpose of all things, for the ancient eyes are able to see into many realities and to connect the whole picture, the whole history. All of this is to be felt. Allow your brain cells to click into being without your rational conscious mind wanting to define things down to the most minute detail. This experience involves raising a feeling inside yourself, and then one day, at one moment, in one afternoon, having an overwhelming sense of knowing, having a composition of 1,000 pages long come alive in 5 seconds of divine ecstasy. Before you came into the body, all of you committed to designing events that would fire your codings or blueprints, that would activate your memories. Then you came into the body and you forgot. All of you have had your blueprints and codings fired to some extent because you understand that there is a divine purpose or divine plan that you are a part of. You hold the history of the universe within your physical body. What is occurring upon the planet now is the literal mutation of your physical body, for you are allowing it to be evolved to a point where it will be a computer that can house this information. The firing of the codings and the realization of your identity are going to become phenomenally intense. The reason for this is the evolving DNA. When you have 12 helixes of DNA in place, those helixes will begin to plug into the 12 chakra system. The 12 chakras are vortex centers loaded with information that you must be able to translate. You have to become super beings in whatever reality you enter because, as members of the family of light, the branch of renegades, this is your forte. As members of the family of light, you know the inside scoop. You come as ambassadors to make realities merge and become more informed within themselves so that everyone involved can release fear and become uninhibited. As you grow and come to these higher realms of recognition, you will break through what feels like cement blocks, layers of yourself that have held you down. Think of the frequency that has limited the human experiment as a radio station. The human experiment has had one radio station on for 300,000 years. Same old tunes. The human experiment was unable to turn the dial and hear a different band, so the same frequency was broadcast. This created a quarantine, a sealing off of this planet. The creative cosmic rays sent by Prime Creator and the original planners pierce through this frequency shield. They bombard Earth. However, they must have someone to receive them. Without a receptacle, these creative cosmic rays would create chaos and confusion. You, as members of the family of light, come into this system to receive these rays of knowledge. You then disseminate the knowledge, the new lifestyle, and the new frequency to the rest of the population to alter the entire planet. The ultimate tyranny in a society is not control by martial law. It is control by the psychological manipulation of consciousness through which reality is defined so that those who exist within it do not even realize that they are in prison. They do not even realize that there is something outside of where they exist. We represent what is outside of what you have been taught exists. It is where you sometimes venture and where we want you to dwell. It is outside of where society has told you you can live. What we want more than anything else is to assist you, as members of the family of light, to succeed in liberating the humans. Focus on the dance of yourself. To what tune will you dance, and to what magic will you perform, and to what heights will you be willing to push consciousness to give it a new definition of possibilities? Members of the Bringers of the Dawn, or Family of Light, work in teams. You don't go into systems alone. You need each other to do this work because you cannot hold the frequency by yourself. By going in as teams, you increase the odds of successfully carrying out the plan. You are like rays and light spirals of the central sun that are very intelligent, and you are guided by a great intelligence inside the central sun. The members of the family of light are much more than human. Characteristically, you are supreme achievers in the multidimensional realm. one applies for a position in the multidimensional realm as a member of the family of light. If you were to have a business card printed up for yourselves when you are in full memory of your identity, it would say something like, Renegade Member of Family of Light, Systems Buster, available for altering systems of consciousness within the free will universe. On call.
I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible.
We speak to you as if you are not human, because to us, you are not. To us, you are members of the family of light, and we know your multidimensional selves. We speak to you about dealing with humans because it is your assignment to integrate with them, soothe them, and awaken a spark of light within them so that they are not all destroyed, and so that this place can house a new species and a new realm of activity. Our final words include a thank you to all of you who recognize the light source that is a part of your identity and that moves you to follow the silent whispers that echo down the golden spirals through the corridors of your own being. We honor you, we recognize you, and we are here to assist you. We are all here as the family of light to bring that choice and that freedom to evolve back onto this planet.
Throughout time, there have been intersecting moments when the cycles of the great cosmic clocks line up in such a way that we're not only given a glimpse of all that is possible, but we actually have the opportunity to step beyond all that we've known as truth and participate in a grander truth within a higher level of consciousness. Consciousness, 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 consciousness.
Out of this vibrant nothingness emerged matter, energy, space, time, consciousness.
It was created by greed. And fear. We have to go beyond that.
And the people are starting to realize that they're all connected.
I was no longer a fragment of the universe. I was the universe.
As 6.2+ billion people of the Earth witness unprecedented changes in their world.
More and more obvious to people that there's a shift going on, a planetary shift.
We are the generation of hope. We are the generation of hope. Another me, another dream.
You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today.
We'll keep track of that, buddy. That's great. Land call. Okay, Charlie, here we go.
Okay, folks, I do have to really apologise to Dan there for cutting that short. I'm really sorry, Dan, but I have run out of time tonight. We did have a few technical issues at the start of the programme, which has made it impossible for me to actually play that right the way through. So, sorry, Dan, I probably will play that again because that is really important information. I'll probably put that on at the beginning of the show next week. So, folks, the time, once again, has gone very, very quickly, and I have run out. So, I'd just like to say thank you, everybody, for listening tonight. And I'd like to end by saying I hope you've all got something out of the programme tonight. Now, what I've got to say next, I've been dreading all night because somebody's been taking the piss out of me tonight for saying this. So, anyway, next up, we have my lovely friend and colleague, the Reverend George, on the Prisoner broadcast. And we have guests Truth Juice Dave and Dave Bollocks, which I was going to find really hard to say. And please forgive me because I've tried to figure out a way to say Rob's second name in a way that doesn't sound rude, but it's just impossible. But anyway, Dave and Rob are both regular speakers on the Freedom Northwest Circuit and lots of other circuits as well, and they will be discussing slavery, servitude, and the relevance and importance of the Universal Declaration on Human Rights Acts. Also, the European Human Convention on Human Rights and other related documents that can be used to regain and maintain our rights when dealing with the judicial system and other authorities. And we also have our very own Pippa G with her weekly alternative news slot coming up next on the Reverend's Prisoner Broadcast Show. So lots of informative, good information coming up next. So it just remains for me to say good night to you all. I'd just like to stay positive and stay safe, and remember, together we are one hell of a force. So I send out all my love, and I wish you all a perfect life, a perfect health, and a magic future. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.